Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi shir.
Shalom, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Brachos Daf Mem Gimel. We're 5 lines from the top, says the Gemara, Hesebu echad mevarach l'chulon. We learned halacha in the Mishnah, if there's a group of people eating together, one of them can make the bracha on behalf of the rest of the group. It can be mighty the others. But there's one condition, Hesebu. It needs to be that their eating experience should take place derech Heseba, in a reclining position. It was their practice to eat in a reclining position, and only in that manner is the experience considered to be a kvius, a fixed eating experience which binds them together, which makes them all part of this joint meal experience. But in the absence of a seba, that indicates that it's merely of a temporary nature, and therefore when several people are engaged in a temporary activity, there's nothing that binds them together, and therefore one of them cannot make the bracha on behalf of the other ones. Amarav, lo yishanu, this condition of a seba is only a lapas to buy a seba, it's only if they're eating bread, because bread requires a seba in order for it to be considered to be a fixed meal, a kviya suda. That is only when it is done in a reclining position, derech seba. By doing so, they are joining together, coming together in one joint kviya suda, a joint meal experience, and they can be mighty each other. But if they're merely coming together to drink wine in a joint drinking session, that doesn't require a seba. Wine can be done even shalei derech haseba. That is enough to be considered to be a joint drinking experience, and they can be mighty each other. Yain is also significant in chashav, and in order for it to be considered to be a joint experience, they have to do it in a reclining position. By doing so, they're being keveh themselves for an established fixed drinking experience, and they're joined together and they're bound together by this joint experience, and they can be mighty each other. So this is the first version in the Gemara, that according to Rav, the condition of Heseba only applies to bread and to nothing else. According to Rav Yechon, applies to wine as well. But certainly regarding all other types of foods and drinks, there's no precondition of Heseba. We can be mighty each other even without Heseba. There's another version regarding this machlekes. Amarav, lo yishanu ela pasta mahani le'aseba. Only regarding bread does Heseba, does reclining help? Is it effective? Only if they're joined together in a reclining position and eating bread. This is a true kviya suda. This is a true mealtime experience, and by joining together in this experience as one, they can be mighty each other. Aval yain lo mahani le'aseba. But regarding wine, Heseba is not effective, even if they choose to drink together and recline together in their joint wine drinking session. It doesn't join them together to the extent that they can be mighty each other. Wine is not chashav enough to create that bond between them. Rabbi Yechon Amar, afilu yain nami mahani le'aseba. Wine is significant and chashav enough that if they do recline during their joint wine drinking session, that is enough of a kviyas, that is considered to be a joint experience, and they can be mighty each other. But only wine and bread, not regarding all other types of food and drinks that are not considered to be significant enough. It doesn't constitute a true mealtime experience, a true kviyas that binds all the members together. However, according to the first lashon in the Gemara, any type of food and drink is allowed to be mighty each other. One can be mighty each other regarding any bracha. The only question is regarding the condition of a seba. All other foods and drinks don't require a seba. However, pas does. According to Rav Yochanan, wine as well. Continues the Gemara. Meisve, we have a brisa which seems to be a kasha on Rav. Says the brisa, Ketzad Seder HaSeba. There's a gersa, Ketzad Seder HaSuda. What was their program? How did their meal time look like? The guests would come in, and they would enter the outer chamber, not yet the dining room, and over there they would sit down on benches, on chairs, until all the guests would assemble. Rashi points out that it was the custom of wealthy people to invite aniyim, poor people, to the sudos. So the orchim show up, and they come to the outer room, they sit down on the chairs, on the benches, and they wait for everybody to assemble. In the meantime, they treated them, heviu lehem mayim, they brought them wine to wash their hand, they wash only one hand, the hand that will be the one to hold on to the glass of wine. They're meant to wash it to prevent the hand, if it's tummy, to touch from touching the liquid, the wine, and be metamid. So they washed only that one hand that will handle the cup of wine. Balahem yain, they served them wine. Kol echad ve'echad mevarach la'atzmai. So each one made a bracha individually on his own. Rashi explains this was still before the meal. This was still before the yayin shalafnei hamazon. So it was pre-meal wine. Okay, so they had their wine. Alu ve'sebu. Then they went into the dining room, and they went up to the mitais. That was their practice. They would go on a bed and recline. Ubalahem mayim. And now they were served water again. What was the purpose of this time of the water coming again? Even though they all washed one hand, that one hand that handled the wine, nevertheless, they need to wash both hands again. Not only the other hand that hadn't been washed yet, but even the first hand, because we're concerned that perhaps since the other hand hadn't been washed and he wasn't careful with that hand that it shouldn't touch tumah. So we're concerned that perhaps absentmindedly the hand that was washed perhaps did touch tumah as well. So he needs to rewash, and he washes both hands. Now they were served the wine, the yain shel fnei hamazon. They were served wine. Even though they all made their bracha ready originally on the first wine, nevertheless, they need to make another bracha. Now they need to make another bracha, and one of them can make the bracha on behalf of all of them. So the first hagafen doesn't work for now. Perhaps since they had a shiri makim, since they changed their location, so now they need to make a new bracha. But in this bracha, one of them can exempt the whole crowd. Says the Gemara, let's analyze it according to Rav Shita. We have two wine servings. The first one was in the outer room, the outer chamber, and each one made his own bracha. The second one was in the dining room, and one made a bracha on behalf of all. Says the Gemara, Lahaich lishna, Da'amar Rav, according to the version of Rav's opinion, Da'amar Rav, Lo yishanu ala pasta boye seba. Only the eating of bread requires heseba, requires reclining to allow one individual to exempt the rest. Aval yain lo b'yeseba, wine does not require heseba, and indeed we can be moitzi the others even in the absence of heseba. If so, kasha reisha. So now we have a kasha from the first part of the brisa. Why, when they were still in the outer room, the brisa says that each one need to make a bracha individually? Apparently, it's because they weren't reclining. But according to Rav, reclining is not necessary. So why did they need to make a bracha individually? Kashi Reisha. Says Gemara, Shani Urchin. The guests, that is different. They have intention to uproot themselves. They had a mind to uproot themselves from this location and to move into the dining room. And therefore, that certainly is not considered to be a kvius. And they cannot be mighty each other. It is considered to be a drinking of a temporary nature, and since it is a drinking of temporary nature, certainly over here they don't join together as one. It's not considered to be a joint drinking experience, and therefore certainly even according to Rav, each one needs to make his own bracha. When Rav allowed one person to make a bracha on behalf of the group, Rav is speaking about when they're in the Makom Suda, in the place of the meal. They're already established, they're already kavua. Rav says, Heseba is not required. But if they're moving around, that certainly is not considered to be a kviz. Or, alternatively, Rav is speaking about in a case where they're not in the Makom Suda, they're sitting someplace, they have no intention to move around. In that case as well, they join together. It is one drinking experience, and one can be made to the other. However, this case is different. Since they start in one place, and they're going to move over to a different room, to a different location for their meal, it's daitayulimi akar, they're going to uproot themselves. Certainly this is not considered to be a kvius. It's merely drinking of a temporary nature, and they don't join together as one, into one experience, and one cannot be made to the other. So that explains the ratio of the brayso according to Rav. It says in Moral, Haich Lishna, Doma Rav. Let's take a look at the second lashon, second version of Rav. The Rav told us, Lo yishanu ela pasta mahani laseba. Reclining only helps, is only effective regarding eating of bread. Aval yayin la mahani laseba. Drinking together wine, that is not considered to be a joint experience. Even if they recline, doesn't help. And one cannot be mighty to the other. If so, kasha seifa. We have a kasha from the Sefer of the Brachos, which tells us clearly that once they enter the dining room and they're served wine again, echad mevarech l'chulam, one of them will be mighty the others. So there's a stiran rab. We see that even regarding wine, they join together, and one can be mighty the other. Says the Gemara, there's a difference. Shani hasam, there's a distinction. Let's remember, why are they coming to the dining room? They're coming to have a meal, to eat bread together. Therefore, since there's a kviyas for the eating of the bread, migu delkamahani le'aseba lepas, since the heseba, the reclining, is effective for the bread that they're going to eat, mahani le'aseba le'yayin, therefore it's also effective for the wine. Since it's considered to be an established eating experience regarding the bread, it carries over to the wine as well. It's all considered to be one joint meal experience. It is a kviyus, it is a fixed, fixed drinking session, and therefore one of them certainly can be mighty the other ones. So in conclusion, regarding the ability to make a bracha on behalf of his friend, we have a couple of shittas. Rav says, in the first lashon, Rav says that there's a condition of heseba. They need to be in a reclining position for it to be considered to be a true kviyas, a true established and fixed meal experience. But says Rav, this is only regarding pas, regarding bread, that requires heseba. Yayin does not require heseba, according to Rav Yochanan. Yayin as well requires heseba. But this is only regarding pas v'yayin. Other types of food and drink, that certainly doesn't require heseba, and certainly Reuven can be mighty Shimon with her bracha. According to the second lashon of the Gemara, we're more stringent. All other foods and drinks don't have this allowance of one making the bracha on behalf of his friend. It is only regarding pas. If they recline during the eating of bread, according to Rav, that works. But not by wine. According to Rav Yochanan, wine as well can be done in this matter if it is in a reclining position, one can be mighty the other. But no more any other foods and drinks, this halacha will not apply to that. And one cannot be mighty his friend with a bracha. The Gemara makes two exceptions, according to Rav, that according to the first lashon of Rav, that wine we don't need heseba. Wine does not require heseba. That is only if they're in their place, in their final place. But if they're going to uproot themselves, akira daitil mi'akar, if they're going to move to a different location, even Rav agrees that wine as well requires heseba reclining. We have another exception according to Rav, that's according to the second lashon of Rav, that for wine, heseba is not effective. But in a case where they're coming in for bread, we say a svara that migu, just as the heseba is effective for the bread, is considered to be an established meal experience regarding the bread. So that rubs off on the wine as well, that carries over to the drinking of wine, and it's considered to be a joint drinking session, and one can be mighty his friend. Continues the Gemara. We learned halacha in the Mishnah that when wine is served during the meal, everybody should make an individual bracha. Sholos ben Zayma, they asked him a question. Ma Omru, why did they state this halacha that Bolam Yaim Techa Mazoin Kol Echad Ve'echad Varach LaAtzmai? Each one has to make his own bracha. La'achar Mazon, after the Mazoin Echad Nevarach L'Kulam, one makes a bracha on behalf of the crowd. What is the difference between during the meal and after the meal? Again, after the meal here, we're speaking about before Brachos HaMazon, but after they finished eating. Amalem, you know what the difference is? Hoyul Vein Ve'esat Blia Panui. During the meal, their throat is not clear of food, and they're preoccupied with their food. They're not going to pay attention, proper kavanah, to the one that's making the bracha. Therefore, we require them to make an individual bracha, each one for himself. However, after the meal, they're finished eating. Now they're not preoccupied anymore, and they can direct their kavanah, their attention, to the one that is making the bracha on behalf of all, and be yotzeh with his bracha. Continues the Gemara, V'hu oimer ala mugmar. The same person that made the bracha by Priyagofen on the wine that was brought at the end of the meal, he made the bracha on behalf of the entire group. This person will make the bracha on the mugmar as well. The mugmar is these incense that are burnt for fragrance after Brachos HaMazon. So this same person will be the one that will be given the privilege to make the bracha by Remina B'samim on the fragrance on behalf of the entire group. Why is it going to be the same person? Because he began the process of reciting the end of meal brachos. So therefore he's given the opportunity to complete the sequence of end meal brachos. Says the Gemara, the fact that the Mishnah sees a need to provide a reason why this same person will make the bracha on the mugmar as well, that implies that if not for this factor, mechlal, this implies there's somebody there that's more suitable to make the bracha ala mugmar, perhaps more prominent, perhaps a greater Talmud Chacham. Nevertheless, since this person began the process of making those brachas, he concludes them. When you begin something, a good thing, we give you the opportunity to conclude it. Says the Gemara, and first say to take out the next line, we pick up from Mesayeya Rav. This supports the teaching that Rav taught us. A similar concept, one who begins the process of a mitzvah, he is the one that is meant to conclude it. The Rav Chia bar Ashi Amarav, Hanoitel Yod of Tchila, one who washes his hands first, by Mayim Achroinim, right before Brachos HaMazon. So he began the process of preparation for Brachos HaMazon. Therefore, who Mezuman the bracha? He is the one designated to make the Brachos HaMazon on behalf of the entire group. Since he began the process of Brachos HaMazon, he is the one that should conclude it. Continues on with the story. Rabbi Chia Havayasvi made the Rebbe Sudasa. They were sitting before Rebbe. They were invited to a meal. Amalei Rebbe Larav. Kumashi Yadech. Rebbe turned to Rav and he said, "Go wash your hands." Chazi, so Rav Chia saw that Rav was uncomfortable. Davamirsa, he was agitated. Why did Rebbe order me to go wash my hands? Perhaps he noticed that my hands are unclean. Perhaps I'm prolonging my meal too much, and he's indicating that I should put an end to it. Amalei Rav Chia. So Rav Chia turned to him and he said, "No, you've got the wrong impression. It was actually complimentary. Bar Pachsi," he referred to Rav as Bar Pachsi, son of great ones, a complimentary term. You know what he meant to tell you? Ayin v'birchas mezayna kamarlach. He meant to tell you, go review Brachos HaMazon, prepare Brachos HaMazon so that you can recite it on behalf of the entire group. By ordering you to go wash your hands for Mayim Achroinim first. What he meant to tell you that you're going to begin the process of the achana, the preparation of Brachos HaMazon. Therefore, you'll be the one to make Brachos HaMazon on behalf of all of us. So this wasn't actually a negative statement, but quite the contrary. It was a rather complimentary reference. Continues Gemara, Amar of Zera, Amar Rava bar Yirmiyah. Me'emasai mevarchen al areach. When, at what point, is one meant to make the bracha of burimin and besamim on smell? We're referring to the mugmar, these woods that were burnt. So, at what point is the bracha appropriate? The answer is mishetalatim raseh. When the tamar, the plume of smoke, the fragrant smoke, begins to rise, even before he ingests it, before he derives pleasure from it, at that point, one is meant to make the bracha of burimin and besamim. Preferably not before that, because one is meant to minimize the interruption between the bracha and the derivation of the physical pleasure. Therefore, as soon as the smoke begins to rise, make the bracha and then ingest the smell. Amalei Rav Zera, the Rav bar Yirmiyah, he hasn't yet smelled. How can he recite the bracha prior to smelling? The Mefarshim point out that ordinarily, certainly a person will make a bracha prior to eating, prior to partaking in the food. Nevertheless, Rav Zera challenged Rav's halacha because he felt that ordinarily, at least one is at least holding on to the object. He's holding on to the fruit when he's making the bracha. So he's physically connecting to it. He relates to it. In this case of smoke, that's not happening. So preferably one should at least ingest part of the smoke, part of the smell, enjoy it a bit, connect to it, and then make the bracha. Amalei, so Rava bar Yirmiyah didn't accept this argument and responded. He said, according to your reasoning, what about every bracha? Hamoitz lechem and haaretz, the mevarich, that he makes a bracha prior to partaking in his bread. V'lo yachal, he hasn't yet eaten. Elo, we must say daiti lemechal, since he intends on eating. So now he makes the bracha on grounds of his intention. Chanami here too, prior to smelling the fragrance, daiti leruch, he intends on smelling. Therefore, this is indeed the appropriate time to make the bracha. Amar Rab Chibar the Abba bar Nachmani, Amar Rab Chizda Marav. V'amar, some say it was Amar Rab Chizda Maziri. Kol ha'megmaros, all these items that are burnt for their fragrance value, they bring out a fragrant smoke. What is the proper bracha on them? Mevarchen aleim b'ri'atzei besamim. Since they are pieces of wood, even though they get burnt up, the smoke rises and they're no more. Nevertheless, the proper bracha is b'ri'atzei besamim. Hashem creates woods of fragrance, since the scent originates from a piece of wood. Chutz musak, except for this musak, shemin chayu, which is a derivative of an animal. And on that, certainly, mevarchan olav bar mina b'sam. Hashem creates different species of fragrances. So in conclusion, he held that even on smoke coming from a piece of wood, the appropriate bracha is bar atzei b'samim. Meisiv, you have a brayso that tells us otherwise, that the bracha of atzei b'samim is only to be recited on a tangible piece of wood, not on smoke emanating from wood. Says the brayso saying mevarchan bar atzei b'samim ella ala farsamin, on balsam wood, since the actual wood gives off a fragrance, a smell. Allah farsamin shalbeis Rebbe, farsamin shalbeis Kesar. This balsam wood was generally found in wealthy homes, so that's where the brayso cites these examples of farsamin that grew by the Kesar or by the home of Rebbe, or on a myrtle and a hadas that also has a good scent, which is found everywhere. So apparently this brayso holds that aseh b'sam is only to be applied to a tangible and actual piece of wood. To Yufta, indeed, this is a refutation on the shita mentioned earlier, that even on smoke coming from wood, where you say bari aseh b'samim. Continues the Gemara. Amar leir of Chizr of Yitzchak. Hai mishcha da farsamin. The balsam oil. My mevarchan aliyah. What is the proper bracha? Amar leir of Yudah bari shemen atzeinu. Hashem creates the good smelling oil from our tzeinu, from our land. Rashi explains that the farsamin trees grew in abundance in Yerichai, and therefore it got its name Yerichai. Yerichai is shirish, is reyach. So Rabbi Yehuda held that the proper bracha on balsam oil is Bar Shemen Artzeinu. Hashem creates a special oil to be found in our land. Amar lei, so responded Bar Menei Rabbi Yehuda. Let's exclude Rabbi Yehuda's shita. The Chaviv Eretz Yisrael, to him Eretz Yisrael is very favored. Therefore, he composed a new bracha that relates to Eretz Yisrael. But l'kol ya'amamai, for the general public, what is the appropriate bracha on the balsam oil? Amalei, he told them, Rav Yochanan, Bar Shemen Arv. Hashem creates a sweet-smelling oil. Amar Rav Adabrav, Hai Kishrasa. This Kishrasa, Rashi said, this is Kaisht, which was one of the elements, one of the Samamani Akteris. What is the proper bracha? Mevarchan aliyah bar atzei b'samim. Aval mishcha kvish alay. But if this kaisht is immersed in oil, so that the oil gets the smell, absorbs the smell from it. In this case, since the kaisht is hidden deep in the oil and is not so visible, therefore the appropriate bracha is not bari atzei b'samim, but rather bari mini b'samim. Hashem creates different species of good smelling items. Rav Kana Amar, afilu mishcha kvisha. Even this oil that has the kush buried in it, the appropriate bracha is bari atzei b'samim, since they're really there. Ava, but if it's ground up, mishcha tchina, if the kush is ground up, so it's not in its original form, in that case, we don't say atzei b'samim no more, but rather bari mini b'samim. Now, afilu mishcha tchina, even ground up oil, the oil that contains the ground up kush, the appropriate bracha is atzei b'samim, since ultimately they're there, even though they're not in their original form. Nevertheless, the appropriate bracha is atzei b'samim. Omar of Gidon Rav, Hai Simlak. This is a plant called Simlak. Rashi says Yasmin, jasmine. Mevarchan alei bar atzei b'samim. Omar Chanam Rav, Hani Chilfa Diyama. Mevarchan alei bar atzei b'samim. Chilfa Diyama, Rashi says, is the Shibelis Neid, one of the Sammoni Akteris. So here too, bari atzei b'samim is appropriate. Even though, as Rashi explains, they're merely stalks, but since they're stiff, they're hard stalks, the appropriate bracha is bari atzei. Hashem creates the woods of b'samim. Amar Zut Mikra. What do we find the support to this concept? That even though they are stalks, nevertheless, since they are hard stalks, the term eitz is appropriate. We find a pasuk. Vihi. This is Rachav regarding the. She hid the spies that came in the days of Yeshua. She brought them up to the roof. She hid them under the pishtei eitz, under the stalks of flax. So we see that a flax, even though it's merely a stalk, since it's a hard stalk, we refer to it as eitz. Here too, regarding the chilfa diyama, the appropriate bracha is bari atzei b'samim. This is a rose bush. Hainarkam, the Gunanisa, that was cultivated in a garden. Apparently it's of higher quality, and the twigs are stiffer and harder. The appropriate bracha is bari atzei b'samim. However, the dabra roses that grow wild, they're more flimsy and soft. The appropriate brachos, Hashem creates grasses of incense. Says the Gemara, Amrav Sheshes, Hai Sigli. This is a violet. One who smells an esrog, a quince. Baruch that Hashem is blessed who inserted a reach toiv, a good smell, into fruits. Amar Yehuda, Hayman the Nafek B'Yabi Nisan, one who goes out in the days of Nisan, and he notices Iloni the Kamalavali, trees, fruit trees that are blooming. Omer makes a special bracha on that account. He says, Baruch Shalei Chisa B'Elam Klum, he hasn't left anything out of this world. Ubarabai Brias Toivais, he created good creatures, Vilonis Toivais, pleasant trees, Lisnois B'Amdei Adam, to provide pleasure for people. So all types of fruit trees, Ilonis Toivais, good trees, pleasant trees that provide hana, pleasure for people. From where do we know that one makes a bracha on smell? Since it's not something physical, it's not something tangible. Shenemar kol haneshama talka. The entire soul will praise Hashem. And we learn from here, Ezu davar shaneshama nanisbay. Nanismena, what is something, an item that the neshama, the spirit, derives pleasure from it, but not the physical body, meaning in relation to eating and drinking. Smell, the pleasure of smell, is a more fine thing. It's a more delicate pleasure. It's like a spiritual pleasure. So, what is something that the neshama derives from it a pleasure? It is more a spiritual pleasure. This is smell. So the pasuk teaches us that even on account of a good smell, kol neshama, to halal kol, one is meant to praise Hashem. So, in conclusion, regarding the brachos recited on fragrances, so if it's a hard stalk, a tree, certainly the bracha is boirei atzeh b'samim, like balsam wood, like a hadas. If it's merely the mugmar of a piece of wood, the smoke, the fragrant smoke arising from a piece of wood, the Gemara concluded that the appropriate bracha is b'yermine b'samim. Now, if this atzeh b'samim is immersed in oil, then we have a machlokes. If it's there, but it's not so visible, but it's there, it's intact and not ground up, it's mishcha kivisha, then according to the Shita or of Kahana, the bracha still remains Boirei Atzeh B'Samim. According to Rav Ada bar Ava, the bracha goes down a level to Boirei Mina B'Samim. What about if the oil is ground up, if the B'Samim is ground up? So according to Rav Kahana, the bracha is now Boirei Mina B'Samim. According to Nadai, the bracha remains Boirei Atzeh B'Samim. The Gemara said that on Mishcha da Farsamoin, on balsam oil, what is the appropriate bracha? According to Rabbi Yehuda, the bracha is Boirei Shemen Artzeinu. The Gemara concludes that for the general public, the appropriate bracha is Boirei Shemen Arev. And we had the Gemara regarding Boirei Mina B'Samim, plants that don't constitute wood, that don't have the term eitz applied to it, those require Boirei Isvei B'Samim. Finally, the Gemara said that if one smells a esrog, a quince, the bracha is Baruch Shenosan Reach Toiv Beferis. Continues the Gemara. V'amar bar Zut bar Tuvi Amarav Asidim Bachur Yisrael. The Bachrim of Klal Yisrael in the future will give off Shitnu Reach Toiv Kalavonain. They'll give off a good smell like the forests of Lebanon. Shnama Yelchu and Kaisav. Their youth will go forth. They will have the beauty of a olive tree. V'reach loy kalavonain, and they'll have a good smell like the forests of Lebanon. Continues the Gemara. V'amar Avsuda bar Tuvi Amarav Ma'idechsiv Es hakoil osa yafa b'itay. Hashem made everything nice in its time. We learn from him Alamed Shekol echad ve'echad, for every person, for every craftsman, Hashem beautified. Hashem made everyone's craft, everyone's profession attractive in His eyes. Kol echad ve'echad, every individual, yipalei HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem made attractive and beautified. Umnasai, his profession, his craft that he's meant to be involved with, before Him. Because as Rashi explained, Hashem wanted that all crafts should be tended to, all professions should be occupied, and therefore Hashem made that every individual should be pulled, should have an attraction to what is meant for him as an individual. Says the Gemara, Papa, Hainu Dharma Inshi. This explains the common saying, Tale Kuril Davachar, one who hangs a palm shoot to the swine, he wants him to eat it in cleanliness. V'yu the day of it, and he continues doing his own thing. He goes and drags it back into the trash, because that's what he likes to do. That was ingrained in his nature. Similarly, regarding every individual in this world, Hashem ingrained in his nature that he should have an inborn attraction to this or that perfection. He can't explain it. Why am I drawn to this craft? And why are you drawn to that? It is something ingrained within his neshama. Hashem implanted into his tafkin, to his mission in this world. Hashem gave every person a piece of this global puzzle. And therefore, he's attracted to do that and nothing else. A torch has the value of two people. This is referring to the halacha. Rashi brings a Gemara that one is not meant to go out himself at night for fear of being confronted by demons, by mazikim. So the halacha is that if there are two people together, then there's no concern. Says the Gemara, if there's a torch, the torch is equated to two people with regard to the protection of the mazikim. Avuka kishnayim v'yoreach, and the moon has the value of 3 kishleisha. Says the Gemara, one second, let's try to understand this. Iboilu, what did he mean? Let's try to understand this. Avuka kishnayim ba'adididei, when we say that the torch had the value of 2 people, it means including him, meaning that the person holding the torch is as if there are 2 people there. Him and the torch are considered like 2 people. Or perhaps what he meant to say was that the torch itself has the value of 2 people, aside from him. So you have a total of 3 people. Explains the Gemara. Tashma will learn as follows. The statement was that Avuka is like 2 people, and Yoreach is like 3 people. So let's analyze. It's all good and well if you say Bahadidite, Shapir, then it's well. If what he meant to say that Avuka, the torch, has a din of 2 people, meaning including him, he is like one, the Avuka is like another person, then fine, we understand it very well. That when one holds Avuka, it's as though 2 people are walking the street. If there's a Yoreach there, then the Yoreach is like a total of 3 people. And we know there's a difference between 2 and 3 people, as you will see soon. 3 have more power against the Mazikim. So again, if what he meant to say was that the Avuka with him is like a total of 2 people, and the Yoreach with him is like a total of 3 people, fine, this will work out. Shapir. Eli Amris Levarmi the day that it's aside from him, in addition to him. Meaning that the Avuka is like 2 people in addition to him. We have a total of 3. The Yoreach is like Shloisha, like 3 in addition to him. So a total of 4. Abba Lamali. Why would anybody ever need 4 people? Va'amar Mar, haven't we learned? Le'echa, to one person walking on his own, Nirei Mazik. The evil force will expose himself and he can harm him. Lishnayim, if there are 2 people walking together, Nirei V'eni Mazik. Perhaps he will be exposed to them, they will be exposed to him. But V'eni Mazik, no harm will befall them. The power of 2 people together prevents them, protects them from the Mazik. But Lishloisha, when we have 3 people walking together, in a Nirkil Ikr, he's not seen at all. He doesn't expose himself to them at all. So it makes sense that if we say that if a person with an Avuka is like 2 people, so this will have the power of 2 to protect from the Mazikim. If there's a Yoreach with him, so that we'll have a total of 3 people, and we'll have an even stronger power against the Mazikim. But if the point is that it's in addition to him, so an Avuka with him is like 3 people, a Yoreach with him is like 4 people. Why would a person ever need 4 people? It is evident that Avuka Kishnayim Ba'adi Didei Shmamina, that certainly when he said Avuka Kishnayim, it means with him for a total of 2 people, so he will be protected somewhat from the mazikim. They are nearer to him, but they're not mazikim. However, a higher degree of protection will be achieved when he has a yareach. So the yareach accomplishes 3. It's as though 3 people in total are walking. The yareach with him are a total of 3. In that case, he'll be completely protected from mazikim, and they will not be nearer. They will not be exposed and seen in any case at all. Continues the Gemara. V'amrav Tuv Bazut Tuv Yamrav. V'amri lo Amrav Chana bar Bizna of Shem Chazida. V'amri lo Amrav Yechon Shem Yechon Shem Meichai. Noich le Adam. It should be easier for a person. A person should be willing sheyapel atzma tichiv shneish, to throw himself into a fiery furnace. V'al yal pnei chavei barabim, so not to cause someone shame and embarrassment in public. Minolan, what do we know this halacha? Tamar, from the story of Tamar with Yehuda, Shenamar Himutzes. She was taken out to be killed, and she had these items from Yehuda, but she didn't announce it. She merely sent it to him, and she said, the person who owns these items fathered the child. And she figured, if he'll admit, fine. If not, I will not embarrass him in public. And she was willing to be burnt, so long not to embarrass a person in public. Turn Rabban, Heviul fun of Shemen v'Hadas. Person has before him 2 items, good smelling oil and a hadas. On which one should he make the bracha first? He should precede the bracha on the shemen, and afterwards on the hadas. The Gemara soon will explain the reason. Besilam, just in the reverse, just the opposite. I will decide. I will decide in accordance with the Shita B'Shamai. Shemen comes first, it takes precedence. Why? Shemen is more prominent. Shemen zachinu l'reichai. We were zeicha, we were merited, we derive its smell. We're speaking about shemen that has a good smell, so we derive pleasure from its smell. That's number 1. And also zachinu l'chasai, we also derive pleasure from anointing with it. So we have 2 pleasures from the shemen. Therefore, it belongs first. Hadas, however, l'reicha zechinu, we derive pleasure from its smell, but not from anointing ourselves with it. The sichas zechinu. Therefore, shemen is more prominent regarding bracha. He should be magd in the bracha on the shemen prior to the bracha on the hadas. Or indeed, halacha k'divar machriya. The halacha, the final ruling, follows Rav Gamliel, who decided according to the Shittas Beis Shammai. Says the Gemara story, Rav Papa ikul Rav Huna ber Rika. He visited Rav Huna ber Rika. Aisil kamayu. They served them. They brought before them these 2 items: shemen v'hadas. Shakar Rav Papa baruch hadas bereisha. He made the bracha on the hadas first. V'hada baruch hashemen, and then made the bracha on the shemen. Amar lei. So he told them, lei saval amar halacha k'divar machriya. Do you not concur with Rav Gamliel, who decided, according to Beis Shammai, that one is meant to make a bracha on the shemen first? Amar lei hachem Rava halacha k'divar Beis. Rava said, Rava ruled according to Beis Hillel, and therefore I followed Beis Hillel's shita. I preceded the hadas before the shemen. The Mepharshim say to take out the next couple of words. So in summary, when one is served 2 items, fragrant oil and a hadas, a myrtle, on which one is he meant to make the bracha first? According to Beis Shammai, the bracha on the shemen comes first, since it provides us with a double benefit. We derive a double pleasure. Number 1, we anoint ourselves with it. Number 2, we have the pleasant fragrance. According to Beis Hillel, the hadas comes first, because the fragrant oil is merely a derivative. However, the hadas is the actual source of the reach tov, is the tangible source. Therefore, the bracha on the hadas takes precedence over the bracha on the oil. The Gemara here continues with another machlekes of a similar topic. They were served shemen v'yayin, fragrant oil and wine. Which one should you make the bracha on first? Here too, machlekes b'sham misil. B'sham yoimim oiches hashemen b'minoi. He grabs onto the oil with his right hand, v'sayayin b'smoilei, and the wine in his left hand. Why? Because one is meant to make a bracha on the item that is found in his right hand. So he's meant to put the shemen in his right, so that he will make a bracha on that first. First he makes a bracha on the oil and then on the wine. Quite the contrary. He places the wine in his right hand, the oil in his left. He makes a bracha first on the wine which is in his right hand, and only then he makes a bracha on the oil. So in summary, we have two separate disputes between Shammai and Beis Hillel. Firstly, in the case of the choice between Shemen and Hadas, according to Beis Shammai, Shemen comes before the Hadas. According to Beis Hillel, the Hadas comes before the Shemen. And finally, regarding Shemen v'Yayin, according to Beis Shammai, the bracha on the oil comes first. According to Beis Hillel, the bracha on the wine comes first. The Mepharshim explained the reason why, according to Beis Hillel, the bracha on the Yayin comes first, since he ingests the wine, he drinks the wine, and he ingests it within him. So that is a more tangible pleasure than merely smelling a good reich, having pleasure from a good fragrance. Therefore, the pleasure, the hana, the physical pleasure derived by drinking wine is a much more significant pleasure, and the bracha on that takes precedence over the bracha on a good fragrance. Continues the Gemara. Okay, so the Talmud Chacham here, he took the oil, the shemen, and he anointed his hands with it. What's next? What's the next thing that he does? Says the Brisa, V'tachai b'reish hashamash. He smears the remnant of the oil on the head of the waiter. The Gemara soon will explain why. If the waiter is also Talmud Chacham, then don't put it on his head, but rather smear it on the wall. What is wrong with having the oil remnant on his hands? Because it's unbecoming, it's inappropriate for a Torah scholar to go out to the street when he's exuding a good fragrance. Therefore, he must get rid of the remnants of his fragrant oil. Says the Gemara, Taner Rabban Malut in the Brisa, Shisha Dvarim, there are 6 things, 6 behaviors, Gnai Leila Talmud Chacham, that are inappropriate, that are unbecoming, unbefitting a Talmud Chacham. Number 1, Al Yetze Kishu Mevusel Nashuk. He shouldn't go out to the shuk when he's exuding fragrance. Number 2, Val Yetze Chediv Alayla, he shouldn't go out himself at night. Val Yetze Ben Milam Tulayim, he shouldn't go out with patched up shoes. Val Yesaper Misha Bashuk, he shouldn't converse with a woman in the street. He shouldn't recline for a meal with a chabur, a group of unlearned people. He shouldn't be the last one to enter the Beis HaMedrash. Some say, he should not take large strides. He shouldn't walk in an erect posture. Explains the Gemara, what is the reason for all these directives? Number 1, he shouldn't go out to the street when he's exuding fragrance. That is only said b'makom, in a place shechashudim al mishkav schur. They are suspect of immoral behavior, mishkav schur, relations between men. So a person shouldn't go out exuding fragrance, which could appear as though he's trying to entice. So dafka in that place, we have this limitation. Amar Rav Sheshes, Lo Yamar, this is only said, this limitation of not having the fragrance is only el bebigdai, on one's clothing. Aval begufai, but if he places it on his body, zeyam averle, the perspiration will remove it, and there's no concern. Amar Papa, the se'ara kibigda dami, one's hair has the same status as begadim, and he should not place the besam on his hair. Va'amrila, some say kigufa dami, it is equated to his body. There too, there is perspiration that is present, and it has the same status as the guf, and is allowed. Number 2, Val Yetzi Chid B'Layla. He shouldn't go out himself at night. Why? Because it might arouse suspicion that he's going to perform an Aveira. V'lo Yamar, this is only said, provided Ela D'Loi Kaveh Idnei. He doesn't have a set time to learn with his Rebbe. Aval Kaveh Idnei, but if he has a set time to learn, maybe everybody knows L'Idnei Kaz he's going to learn, and there's no concern. Next thing, Val Yetzi B'Min Atulayim. He shouldn't go out with patched up shoes. This supports the ruling of Chib Abba that told us, don't Chib Abba, Gnayu. It's unbecoming l'Talmud Chacham sheyetze b'minaloyim amataloyim with patched up shoes. It's unbecoming. It's inappropriate. It's disrespectful. Eini, says the Gemara, how can you say that? V'Rav Chia ba'Abba nafik. Chib Abba did go out with patched up shoes. This limitation is only one patch on top of the other, but a single layer of patch is okay. Says the Gemara, this is only a problem when the patch is situated in the visible part of the shoe on top. If it's down on the sole, on the heel. Rashi says gilda is the eke of a heel. It's down on the bottom. Less than, but it's not a concern because it's not visible. Says Gemara, Panta lo yamaron, when the patch is up on top, that is only a concern. Al be'orcha, when he's going out in the street. Aval the base of it, if it's privacy of his own home, less than, but it's not a concern. Lo yamaron, it's only a concern. Al b'isachama, in the summer. Al b'isachshamim, when it's covered up with mud anyways. In the winter time, less than, but it's not a concern. Next, he shouldn't converse with a woman in the street, even with his own wife. Tani Namiyacha, we learned to Brisa as well. Afili Ishta, even with his wife. Afili Bita, even if she's his daughter. Afili Yachais, even with his sister. So even if this woman is his wife, she's his sister, his daughter, he shouldn't converse with them in the street. Why? Not everybody is familiar with the identity of his relatives, and they'll think perhaps he's conversing with a strange woman. He shouldn't be reclining together with a group of Ami Eretz in a meal. My time of why he'll be drawn to them, he'll be affected by their company. He shouldn't be the last one into the Beis HaMedrash. Why? People will regard him as a Pesheya, as a lazy one, as a negligent one. You're the last one in. Says the Gemara, some say he shouldn't take a large stride. The Mepharshim say this is a large stride, bigger than the typical stride, which is an amma, between 1.5 and 2 feet. So don't take a large stride. Why? But this could be detrimental to one's health. A large stride, neteles, will weaken his eyesight. Neteles achad mitaf kuf. It takes away a 500th, 1 pound and 500th from the eyesight, from the power of eyesight from the person. My takante, what is the remedy if one has his eyesight reduced? As a result, lahadre, should restore his eyesight by drinking from the kiddush on Friday night. Finally, says the Gemara, Val Yahalach become a skupa. He shouldn't walk in an erect posture. Damar, as we learned, Hamalach become a skupa abamas. One walks fully extended. Shir afilu arbamas, even 4 amos. Kilu doichek ragla shchina, as though he's pushing away the legs of the shchina. Dechsiv maloi chalaretz kavoidai. The pasuk teaches us that Hashem's presence extends downward to the entire world, down here on the earth. And therefore, when one walks in a fully extended position, fully erected, he walks, that position, that indicates, that implies that this is his domain, this is his makayim, and it's as though he's pushing away the Shekhinah, as if the Shekhinah is not present here. So one should walk not in a manner of kamiskufa, just regular, not fully upright, fully erect, and fully extended. This will indicate that he's accepting, that he's aware, that he's conscious of the presence of the Shekhinah everywhere.